you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Quarantine Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And back here still, Fuego. Hi.
That's right. We're still 6 feet away. We can't touch each other because we're too far, but we're trying to be safe, but we still want to record some content for you guys. And frankly, being cooped up for as long as we are, it's a little tough. So
I had to see this guy. It's
yeah.
tough, man.
I disinfected everything, and we've got our gloves on, and we're not touching our faces, so we should
worked
be
together
good
for
here.
like 6 years, man.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy at this point. But here we are today to talk about another recent release, straight to VOD, that we were actually kind of excited about. I didn't even know about until Fuego posted in our thread, Facebook thread, that hey, this is coming out tomorrow, and it's, you know, an underwater creature movie. And I was like, ooh. So I watched the trailer. I was like, that looks interesting. Watched it right away. We both watched it right away. Called Sea Fever, and unfortunately, it was a disappointment. I felt not under the weather watching it, but I definitely didn't feel tremendous watching it. It was just okay, unfortunately, which is a lot of what we've been getting recently. Fuego, your overall thoughts?
Well, as much as I loved the film Underwater earlier this year, this one was definitely lackluster in comparative regard. I love Underwater. I just rewatched that the other night, too.
Me too, yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
Yep.
This one, you know, it is definitely a kind of creaturey thing, but with a social message. And it doesn't beat you over the head with it, which I appreciate, you know. And the acting is good. It's an Irish film. It has something to say, but I still feel like this is another one that we tried to record and we had some technical issues. This is one that I feel like kind of baited me into expecting something that didn't transpire. And
From the
that
trailer?
was, yeah, and that's what frustrated me about it, you know, because everything else was top notch. It's, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't what I had hoped for. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Story, you want to hit the story on it?
Yeah, totally can. So we have Red. I forget her name, but you and I joked about this, that in Irish culture, which is a new thing to me, apparently redheads going out on sea expeditions with crews are a bad luck
Unlucky.
charm. Yes. And it's something that rears its ugly head, and there is constant contempt for this girl who is like a research student or something who goes out with them, and she is trying to give some studies to the sea life that, you know, is in this particular part outside, you know, Ireland, and it's a crew that's already kind of down on its luck, and so while there is still a nice family aspect and a connectivity and a care and compassion and everything, there is some urgency. So they decide, with that urgent intent in mind, to not go where they had initially said that they would, and including where they told the people at the actual, you know, like back on land that they were going to be going to. So yeah, they find themselves stuck in a situation with a big, crazy creature that, you know, doesn't really interact that much, but has a potential infecting aspect. And yeah, there's another boat that's possibly encountered them previously, or it previously, I should say. And yeah, I mean, that's really about, without spoiling stuff, the most of what we can say. And it's really them trying to resolve and see the extremity of the situation when this infection gets on board. And it's in the story, you know, it's in the trailer. So,
It is still an interesting story. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't fault the story. The story's interesting, but the execution of it is just a little bit slower than I'd like, a little bit less creature than I'd like, a little bit less interesting. For as interesting as the actual premise is, the follow-through on it is not as interestingly done as I would have hoped.
a little bit more bunker for you too, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is a bunker movie,
Yeah.
and I figure, oh, you're going to throw a creature into it? That's going to help make things interesting, and for a scene or two, it does.
There is one scene in particular in this movie that we'll get to in the effects that's dope, and it's not in the trailer.
Yeah, one scene is quite entertaining, but the rest is just kind of, it's an okay enough story, but ultimately it's nothing that's going to resonate with me for a long time or anything like that. Unfortunately, I guess maybe I had higher hopes than it could deliver on, but even that Sweetheart creature movie I thought was more entertaining than this one.
Oh, same. Yeah.
So I don't know I don't know what to say other than it was too slow moving, too little creature. not enough impact from the creature, more bunker impact than anything else. So it didn't land with me as much.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as story goes, this is definitely one without spoiling the third act. There is a like paradigm, like a nasty situation that they put forward, and it's like a moral quandary. And it's like, okay, do you expose more or do you keep it contained? And in this, that's actually something that I've seen a lot on social media as far as like respected reviewers that you and I both read making mention of and praising this movie for, is the fact that it just gives this whole sort of like, what if, what do you do? You know, do you act selfishly, or do you expose more people and all this other stuff after an infection happens on this boat? And so that's good dialogue and good commentary to have in this movie, but aside from that, it doesn't do much else. It's very slow and plotting. So
yeah, and that particular plot aspect is something that we saw before in one of the series of the Thing comic books.
Where
it's a creature on a boat,
which you mentioned on the previous review. I remember that now. Yeah.
So I mean, it is something that we've seen before, but I even thought that was done a little bit better than this.
Yeah.
So it's an okay movie, you guys. It's not bad. I mean, cinematography-wise, it's pretty good, pretty entertaining. Nothing really to write home about, nothing to complain about. Sound-wise, nothing to write home about, nothing to complain about. It's when we get to the creatures that it's kind of more interesting to me. What about for sound and cinematography for you?
Well, I mean, anything shot on the sea, I know, just incurs more of a budget. I mean, look at Waterworld, one of the most expensive movies of all time. For God's sake, it's always tough to shoot on the sea, and they do a good job of just giving you that claustrophobic feeling and everything. And also when they find this other boat and just the whole uncertainty of everything, and even when the girl makes her dive and she sees like kind of a partial extent. It's not like Underwater where we see, oh boy, something bigger and crazier, but it's like an interesting enough taste to make us fearful. And that's why when something happens on the boat where you see like crawling on a pipe and it's in the trailer, and that's what makes you think it's going to be something bigger, and it's not. It's definitely more like, germ virusy, and like the shower scene especially is gross. If we're talking effects though, something with somebody infected, without saying what exactly it is. Eyes pop out, it's gross, and it's very well done. So it shows that they had the capacity to do something, but they kept their, it's almost like they were keeping their cards like held back sort of situation. They didn't want to like show the whole hand at the same time, and then they just never did it all. It was maybe a budgetary thing, as I would speculate, but that is what it is. Music and everything was good. There was the ambient, creepy whateverness that we got here and there, and also some Irish, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like contemporary kind of throws back to, stuff that is still enjoyable as far as the ethnic Irish music. I'm trying not to go there, but yeah, man, I didn't hate it. I definitely didn't hate it. That's the one thing that I have to like march home and make mention of, is the fact that this is not a bad movie. It was just, for me, expectation-wise, a slightly disappointing one. Especially when there's slim pickings. So.
No, I agree. And the last thing I wanted to mention is creatures as well, or the effects. Some of the effects were good. Some of the effects were okay. There's not enough creature to really complain about anything. The little bit that we got was all done well enough, but it just didn't go as far as I was hoping it would go, so ultimately it left me a little bit underwhelmed. But it's not a bad movie, it's just not as entertaining as I was hoping it would be. So I don't know, it's one of those down the middle of the road things, and not one that I'll probably watch again anytime soon. So I don't know, any final words on it from you?
I mean, if it shows up on a streaming service and you dig the aquatic, dramatic sort of stuff, which him and I most definitely do, I mean, maybe give it a shot. You may find a little bit more just resonance and interest than we did. And once again, not hating, just expectations and the burden of it is something I always mention on this channel.
So let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below if you saw the movie. If not, If you watched the trailer, did it look interesting to you? If you haven't seen the trailer, I'm guessing this probably didn't make you want to see it. So
Sorry.
just let us know what your thoughts are in those comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe to make sure you don't miss other reviews going forward. Until next time, though, I've been Quarantine Cecil.
And I'm still back here as Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, guys,
Stay scared.